morning, ladies and gentlemen, all our viewers, or maybe good day to you based on wherever you are joining us from, because the world has become a global village. My name is Femi Adeoti. I'm the group managing director for the Routelink group. This morning, we'll be looking into how to build resilience into your cybersecurity strategy. Some organizations have cybersecurity strategies, some don't have. How do you build an effective cybersecurity strategy, and how do you build resilience into it? Right from risk assessment, which is the first step, to how you can actually have a resilience culture, because resilience has to be a culture. This event has been put together by the enterprise subdivision of our organization, the Routelink Group. Cyber threats is growing and has become very deep as the usage of the internet expands. Individuals and corporate organizations are facing so many issues. This morning, I have with us an expert concerning cybersecurity, a very good friend of mine, Mr. Zachariah Akinpelu. We call him Zek. Zachariah is the Chief Information Security Officer for Unity Bank. Unity Bank is one of the foremost banks in Nigeria with more than 200 branches. So I'm sure we are in very safe hands. Cybersecurity affects individuals. Cyber threats affects individuals, and it also affects organizations. I'm sure many of us at the individual level, some of us have had this experience where somebody just hacks into your WhatsApp and starts asking people for money or for whatever. A friend of mine had an experience some time ago where somebody else hacked into his LinkedIn account and he just took over the account and logged him out. That's at the individual level. At the corporate level also, some hackers just get in and they take over the entire database of an enterprise, maybe a bank, maybe a manufacturing company. It could be any company. So this morning, Zek will be talking to us about how do we protect ourselves? How do we prevent these things from happening? So after he has spoken, I'll be asking him some questions, so we learn. And we'll also, if you have some questions, our audience, if you have some questions you would also like to ask him, please send us those questions through the chat group. I will ask him those questions. Zach, once again, you are welcome.
All right.
How are you doing, man?
I'm very well, thank you.
So tell us, the floor is yours.
I appreciate this opportunity to collaborate and also to remind ourselves of what we need to do to guide against these cyber criminals. As we are all aware, the threat is more real than ever before. So gone are those days that people are also worried about the physical criminals, maybe the armed robbers, the pickpocketers. But today, because we all leverage on technology, and technology has evolved over the years. I said technology is evolving, and they are making life easier with the use of technology. The cyber criminals too, they are leveraging on technology to make their work, their life too much more easier. So, gonna do this that you'll be worried about, especially if you want to drop large amount of money, maybe in a bank, and or you want to go and withdraw money, or you're scared of being inside the banking environment because things can just happen. You just see the criminals coming, maybe about tens or hundreds of them, coming with a very big truck, spending like 3 hours before they will rob a bank.
Operating.
But today, their life is at risk while doing that, and the risk of being caught is also high. So what they leverage on now that everybody you don't need to transact money physically, so they too are leveraging on the technology at the comfort of their home, maybe at the comfort they might be somebody might be somewhere in one island taking a cruise by the seaside and be hacking a bank in Nigeria or hacking a bank in any part of the world. So the threat is becoming real, and we also need to be aware of all these threats and also to come up with different strategies. I like the way you started that, okay, we need to come up with a kind of a risk assessment. So we need to have a very good foundational foundation, because for you to have a resilient cybersecurity culture, you must start first and foremost by making sure that you set up a very good governance practice. Part of the good governance practice has to do with the risk assessment. You need to look at your risks. You need to look at your organizational culture. You also need to look at your organizational assets. For some organizations, their assets, their most critical assets might be their servers, might be their applications. Some organizations, their assets might be the intellectual properties. If you look at what is happening among the nations, different nations guide up their intellectual properties. So that's why data privacy is becoming a big deal, because if somebody, let's presume that as an organization you are coming up with some strategy to launch to the business, and there's somebody, the strategy that you are still building up, somebody else get over the strategy, or maybe you want to about to launch something, patent an idea, before you patent the idea, the idea leaked out, and all of that. So for some organizations, it might be maybe the application. For example, in banks, we leverage on various digital platforms, and so that's core banking might be might be the most critical jewel. So how do you guide against this? You need to have a very good governance structure. You need to look at it from the risk-based approach. So what's worked for organization A may not work for organization B. So risk assessment is very key, and also you need to leverage on the best practice. So you need to reinvent the wheel. There are a body of knowledge that have been set up. The virtue of what I do, I'm privileged to be the moderator for a couple of cybersecurity body of knowledge globally, and when it comes to data privacy and the developing of some framework and all of that. So you can leverage on framework. If you have like thousands of good heads that come together, they will come up with a better idea. They say two good heads are better than one, but these best practices are developed by experts all around the world, and people with years of experience in technology, years of experience in there. You can leverage on best practices like NIST. The NIST is made popular in 2014 when President Barack Obama come up with the National Institute of Science and Technology, the next government, to come up with a strategy to protect the American critical infrastructure. So they call it NIST Cybersecurity Framework, and initially it has 4 functions, which is identify. You must be able to identify all your critical assets. You must be able to identify the risks, and the second function has to do with detect. You must be able to detect in case if there are some incidents going on, if there is something happening. The ability to detect, your detection engineering must be very powerful. You must be able to also respond in case if there is an attack, and also contain that attack, and also be able to recover. But today, they've come up with the version 2 of the standard. Now, instead of 5 functions, it has a 6 function. They added like a governance, govern to be the first function. So just to corroborate what you just say, other the governance has to do with the you coming up with the policy, information security strategy. First and foremost, your information security strategy must align with the business objectives, because I can't just develop a strategy without any form of alignment. For example, depending on the organization I'm working for, organizations that take intellectual property much more seriously, I can't be asking them to be developing a standard that will comply with the PCI. It doesn't really make sense. You have to look at your information security strategy must align with the business strategy. Your strategy must even come up with the business, and then from there you can now come up with policies to support the strategy, come up with standard, come up with procedures, and come up with different stuff, right? To build up your strategy.
Thanks, Zek, for that. I think that's quite informative. I want us to put this into maybe like 3 buckets, for an individual, for an organization, and also for a country. For an individual that uses the regular day-to-day applications, how can they protect themselves?
Okay, at an individual level, so you need to be aware of what is all happening. Information security awareness is very key. There's some basic awareness that are very key. For example, how do you handle your personal data, your personal information? How do you determine the information that are meant to be public and the one that are not meant to be public? For example, at an individual level in this part of the world, in Nigeria, we should be aware that, okay, anything that is related to your, maybe your accounting information should be made private to you as much as possible, even your account number, your card with other data information like your PAN, CVV2, the information on your card, the way people fling their card these days. People think that because they've protected their card with the PIN, and that even if the card get lost, they are protected.
No
Meanwhile, there are some merchant website that you can carry out a transaction. They call it card not present transaction. So you don't need to enter a PIN for you to carry out that transaction. So if somebody gets hold of your card, that information, whether they have your PIN or the other, in one way or the other, they can still they can do some stuff on your behalf.
You're right.
And they can also play a social engineering, even if they go to a site that has to handle that will ask for your PIN because they've known you, they've mapped if somebody has your details, what they just need to do, the additional stuff is very easier for. People are so good in social. There is what we also need to. That way about the social engineering attack. So what do I mean by social engineering? So social engineering is a form of attack that leverages maybe trick, maybe a psychological way by enforcing the victim to reveal some personal details. Maybe through social engineering. Somebody can just play on your intelligence. Maybe somebody has get hold of your PAN. They need your PIN. They can just pick up a call or send you, if they have your email address, they can send you an email address that, okay, a particular bank, they want to upgrade their ATM infrastructure. Can they enter your PIN details before you take their cognizance? They've gotten your PIN and
there are times, I can relate with what you are saying because there are times you get some very strange calls. They will say, I'm calling from so bank.
Exactly.
We would like to, verify this and that. And when they do that, they do it, they leave some trail because somebody is telling you that he's calling from a bank and he's calling you around 6 or 7 p.m. No customer service of the bank will call you back. So when I see those things, I say, these people are coming. Those type of things happen. But something happened to a friend of mine, he travels a lot, but at this particular time, he was in Nigeria.
Okay.
And he just got an alert on his phone that a huge sum, maybe some thousands of dollars, had been removed from his card, from his USD card. And it was used at an ATM or at an infrastructure in I think in India or maybe somewhere outside the country. So when he called the bank, they said, oh, you are the one that used the card or whatever is your card. The person said, I can't be in 2 places at the same time. I'm in Nigeria as I'm speaking to you. How can I be in Nigeria and I'm also still using the card there? The card is right with me here. He went to the bank, he showed them the card. Then the bank started to trace. And eventually they refunded the money to him. How does something like that happen? Somebody is here. He has his card with him. He has all the details with him. There's somebody else is using his card in another country and withdrawing money.
Yeah, just like as I've said, because if somebody, there's some transaction that we call card not present transaction that if somebody gets hold of your card details, they don't need to, they can use anywhere in the world, they leverage on them. So what they just need to get from you, if they want to transact on a merchant website that will required PIN, they just need to figure out how to get that.
So why can't all merchant sites request for PINs?
In this part of the world, we, because of what we've been through, I think when it comes to card, I think Nigerian banks are doing pretty well because you can't do transaction in any of the merchants, Nigerian-based merchant websites without asking for your PIN. Because if they don't do that, I think that the bad guys here in Nigeria, it seems to be a bit smarter, maybe because they understand that they can easily get stuff. So that's the reason even Nigerian banks are going to be the first set of banks that will implement PIN and chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, so some other part of the world like Europe adopted it, and so there are some merchants. Yes, in Nigeria, you can protect you can be rest assured
that you'll be secure.
Reliable merchant sites will implement PIN, but we are in a global village. I don't need to buy. I can order for phone in US and within 2, 3, 7 days they get delivered to me. I can visit such a merchant site and
there's even an experience now abroad where you just need to tap your card. No PIN or whatever required. I said, this is dangerous. If this card should get into somebody's hands or whatever, they don't even need any PIN. They just put the amount and tap, and the money is gone. But I don't think we implemented that in Nigeria yet.
The Nigerian cards has that capability, but we've not. I believe that some banks have started rolling out. But if you want to do that, because you need to look at your environment. Even in abroad that they are doing that, you can only do that for small transactions. For example, in the United Kingdom, you can only use your card maybe if you want to maybe pay for your train, pay for your bus, a bus ticket, maybe max to, I think in UK, I'm not sure whether you can do up to maximum £10.
So that's small amount.
So if you want to transact more than £10, you need to enter your PIN. You need to enter your PIN. Even same thing in US. I'm not so sure but in UK I think it's not anything above £10. You need to enter your PIN. So you can only use it for maybe to enter. Maybe you want to pay for at restaurant. Maybe barely you will see a good restaurant that you spend £10. Even in UK you will spend more than that, right? So that's the kind of control measure they put in place. They limit. Like if an individual lost £10 in UK, it's not so big. It's more like somebody losing like 100 or 1,000 in Nigeria. You rather you can control. But there are some kind of each individual will have a risk appetite. So some people, if certain amounts, maybe like 1 million naira, get out of their accounts, they might develop a blood pressure, and some people will just move on that. Just depending on the individual, but what they've done in those kind of an environment, and what the banks, what we are trying to do, that if we implement, if we enable such technology in environment, it will be agreed with the customers. But eventually, if you want to increase your limit, I believe there will be an indemnity that you want to increase like that. Like what we've done in the internet banking. You can increase your daily transaction limit if you feel that, but you need to be indemnified. You need to sign. You need to understand the risks and also indemnify the bank. That's okay.
If anything happens,
if anything happens, you bear the risk.
Thanks, Zek. For those that are just joining us, I have our guest today is Mr. Zachariah Akinpelu. Zek, we call him. He's the Chief Information Security Officer for Unity Bank. Zek is actually an EC Council 2021 certified ethical hacker. I hope it doesn't mean that you hack. You are able to to catch those that are trying to hack.
Sure.
So he's well experienced where cybersecurity and cyber challenges are concerned. Two things I've heard him said is that, number one, as an individual, don't be too quick to release your card details to anybody. Your PIN, your card details, they are personal. And I think the bank also warns us of things like this. Then number two is that, if somebody calls you, says they are calling from a bank, from a financial institution, that you need to reveal your PIN or reveal whatever, don't give to them online. I don't think any bank would ask you for your PIN, for your cybersecurity, for your card details online. They would not. So if anybody asks you that, you got a phone call and they are saying don't release it to anybody. Instead, go to a bank branch and try and confirm that information. This is really, really these are some very simple ways by which we can protect ourselves as individuals. One threat that is prevalent in our environment for individuals is on WhatsApp and some of these, where somebody hijacks somebody else's account and they start soliciting from everybody that, in fact, they block the person can no longer have access to that account. They now take ownership and then start going around asking people for this, asking people. How can people protect themselves from such a threat?
Okay, yeah, so for that, at an individual level, you need to implement what we call multi-factor authentication. So multi-factor can be,
what is multi-factor?
Yeah,
we are not all technical people. Technical people assume that we know all the. What does multi-factor authentication?
Okay.
What does it mean, and how do you do it?
Okay, I will explain that. Yeah. What multi-factor authentication is just you using different means, not more than one means. The major factor that we all know is about one factor, which is using your username and password. If you use your username and password, maybe to log into an account, maybe to your Gmail, Yahoo Mail, that's the one factor. So, but if you are using different level of authentication, at the point in time, maybe you enter your username and password, what you know. So when you are talking about multi-factor, it's just you. So password is what you know, then who you are, and what you have. What do you have? You have your you have your password, who you are, your biometric. Like in our phone today, you can actually for smartphone, is either you log on with your face and or with your thumbprint and all of that. So most smartphone today leverages on this technology, but it's not dependent at the individual level whether you want to implement it or not. Like if you have an iPhone, by default, every iPhone, you have to use, is either use your facial recognition and all of that. So those are the example of, if you use a combination of different factors, maybe your password plus maybe your PIN, that's like kind of, maybe password
things
plus.
that are personal to you.
Yeah, so personal to you.
Like
that's what it's called there. So in the case of WhatsApp, so WhatsApp I've also recommended because it's easy for somebody to hijack somebody WhatsApp details. So that's why Facebook, sorry, the Meta now this time around, Meta is the parent company for what they used to be called Facebook. So I advise people that they should implement a two-factor, the second level of, maybe you need to set up the PIN.
Two-factor is second level.
Yeah, second level. So don't, and whenever you are setting up PIN, don't use something that will be too generic.
That would be too easy
to guess. Maybe some people use their year of birth. Anybody can
guess
your year of birth is a public information. When your date of birth is a public information, whether you tell people or not. People know your. Once in a while you celebrate you celebrate your date of birth. You don't use something that can easily be guessed. And don't make sure that 4-digit, in the case of WhatsApp, that 4-digit is something very unique to you.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. So coming to organizations, right? Some time ago, there was a very big financial institution that we learned that some billions of naira was taken out by an individual. How is that even possible? For one individual to take that, we've been hearing of financial fraud, bank fraud, and over time. But this one is so huge that everybody, it was even very difficult to believe. How is that type of, is it that because before you spoke about governance, is it that there was no governance? Is it that, somebody just has unilateral power to do whatever he wanted to do in such a big organization.
Okay, all right. So let me, yeah. So not only, if you look at what is happening today, these cyber criminals are getting much more intelligent than ever before. Yeah, because they leverage on technology. So if you leverage on artificial intelligence, leverage on machine learning, you can do a whole lot. So yeah, for that, so any organization, if you look at what is happening, big organization, sometime last year, August last year, LinkedIn, quite a number of people on LinkedIn, their account was compromised, and it took LinkedIn almost more than 6 weeks for them to fix the mix. In the process of fixing the mix, the people that did not even, their accounts were not compromised, they couldn't have gain access to the LinkedIn. If you look at what is happening, even global bank that has at the point in time, JP Morgan some years back, more than 88 of their servers were compromised. Do you know what I mean for 80
So it's
servers?
not a Nigerian thing.
It's not a Nigerian thing.
It's a global
thing.
Global thing.
These days, even the nations, at the point in time, even one of the lab for the U.S. Security Agency was hacked, and information about the hack was launched into the dark web. So that
was the dark web.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, so that dark web.
So
you know,
we are aware of. Sorry for going.
No,
I will explain what. Okay.
Yeah.
Normal web is what every one of us are used to.
Yeah.
If you go to the Google, go to the internet, we call it surface. That's the surface web.
Surface web. So there is a surface web.
We have surface web.
The dark web is the back end.
We have deep web. Deep web is when you need to be authorized before you can gain access. For example, if you want to log on to, you want to post stuff on your Facebook, on your social media account, you need to log in. So that's the deep web. So you need an authentication.
Okay.
An authentication, you need to make sure you protect the authentication, maybe implement two-factor. I just explained, I'm taking us through the cybersecurity 101.
It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah. So but for the dark web, so the dark web is not known to the general internet user.
It's for an exclusive
set of people
that have intention of causing damage.
And it was not created for the purpose of creating damage. It was just created to pass some secrecy information.
Oh, secret information
within it. It started from the military, the U.S. military. But when the people, the criminal got hold of it, they also realized that they can also pass out some secrets through them. So, and you don't subscribe to dark web through the normal browser. But for the sake of I won't explain for that details. You need a special browser, a special technology, and a special skill set for you to do that. So in dark web, a lot of stuff happen. They do phishing as a service, they do stuff, criminal as a service. What do I mean by criminal service? Somebody that doesn't know how to commit a crime. We engage somebody that can, on a behalf, just pay the token.
So there is criminal as a service.
Different.
I've heard of software as a service.
Just as we have software
platform as a service. So there is criminal as a service.
Wow. Even hacking as a service. Just get that done. So they release all those information to the dark web so that they are selling the information on the dark web, and some people leverage on the dark web. Some malware people use those information to create some malware to hack thousands of systems globally and all of that. So as I was saying, so it's a platform whereby people, it's only people that have access to it that can do that. So that's about the dark web. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks for that. So let's talk about training. What role does training play in building awareness about resilience, cybersecurity resilience?
Okay, yeah. So the role of training cannot be, is very, very key, because if you don't know about stuff, you will not be able to know how to guide yourself. And when it comes to, we have different level of training when it comes to cybersecurity. The basic form of training is like what we call like information security awareness. People need to be aware For example, if you are not aware that people can send you a phishing email, maybe email, somebody will call you, pretend to be a bank staff, to be a telecommunication support person, call you from MTN, blah 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 blah.
Asking for your personal details.
Asking for your personal details. So that's where the basic form of awareness. That then awareness starts from, okay, do not use simple password. Some people have found out maybe they want to make their life easy. Whenever they want to log onto their email address, they will just use it. Some people will use even their first name as password. But when the provider realized that people will not do that, they
started enforcing. Yeah.
Enforcing people. So they will enforce it to some people in the name of creating strong password, because they don't want to stress themselves. I've seen people using their first name, you just put _123. You know, that can easily be guessed. So as simple as that, you need to know how to make sure that you implement two-factor authentication. Like don't leverage on username and password, especially on your social medias. So don't rely on username and password. Make sure that you, should the case if somebody guess your username and password, so they cannot be able to get your two-factor. For example, if you leverage on your phone, if you are using smartphone, it's better you use a biometric or maybe your thumbprint. It should be the case, maybe if your phone gets stolen, so nobody will be able to log into your to those services and all of that. So those are the kind of information security. So that people will know their responsibility. When it comes to cybersecurity, it's the responsibility of everybody.
Yeah.
You need to. There is no amount you can have the best, if you like, have the best phone, best infrastructure, best security gadgets.
It's human beings that are behind.
So it's beyond. I mean, if you use your hand, maybe somebody asks for your username and password, and you submit your username and password. So the security has been compromised. You know?
So let me ask this question. You know, we are in the age of speed, where we want to get things done fast. You know, individuals want to do that, organizations want to do that. How do we ensure we don't compromise security? We don't compromise operational efficiency, vis-a-vis speed.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, for us not to compromise, because you also need to balance security, like what we're doing in the banking services. All the banking services that we provide, we don't want a situation whereby we implement a kind of control that will be cumbersome to the customer. Just imagine you need to do a transaction, you need to transfer money, and it takes you like 5 minutes or 10 minutes for you to log onto your accounts and all of that. So that's the reason why it's very, very important that you look at a way. So how do you safeguard the digital asset without also not compromising operational efficiency? If you look at what is happening to some of the social media giants, or some email, you don't need, these days, there's a technology called the passwordless technology, which seems to be even more stronger than password. So that means that
passwordless.
Yes.
You don't need password.
You don't need password
at all.
And
you'll be safe.
And you'll be safe. Maybe you. But in that case, the
so
leverage
what do you use
on the biometric? For example, for Yahoo, I don't know whether people that use Yahoo Mail or Gmail or Yahoo Mail these days, you don't need to enter your username and password. So what you need to do at the point of you want to log in, if you log into with a new device, it will generate a code.
Yeah.
And that code will be sent to your smart phone. So you enter that code. So for example, if you log onto your Yahoo, maybe in a different location. So because the form of two-factor authentication.
Yeah, verification.
So verification, because a device that is being known by the provider, they want to verify whether that device is with you, and also so that's one factor for that device. But that pin that is sent to your device
is the second factor.
Is the second factor. So that's a way you can, for the access control, you can make it seamless without creating an operational hurdle. Then for the stuff, you can also leverage on the automation, security automation, to ensure at the organizational level, maybe you want to you want to harden your, maybe you want to protect your, I don't want to be talking some secret terms. Maybe you want to protect your assets because that's something that need to be done. You can automate the process.
Yeah.
You can automate the process. You can also leverage on machine learning or artificial intelligence. For example, let's presume that, okay, you always consummate a transaction here in Nigeria, and we've understood your transaction pattern that is within the Nigeria. Maybe tomorrow somebody has tried to log on to your account, maybe to your online platform, maybe in India or in Asia. So the system will pick it up that, okay, this is an anomaly. We call the entity, is a machine learning capability because the system has understood your behavior. So we call it user entity behavior analytics. It will analyze your normal ways of doing things. So paraventure, it might be you, and might be somebody else.
Yeah.
So if you observe such stuff, that kind of transaction will be temporary pause, then we try as much as possible to reach out to you, whether via email that we've, and so if you now verify that you're the person, or at times a customer service support person might give you a call to verify whether you are the person. So just to confirm, that's how you go. So that's how to leverage on, to make sure that this control that you put in place do not create an operational issue. So you can leverage on technology to solve that.
Yeah, Zach, there's something that I'm saying that I'll ask you, in this on this program, and that is that, a lot of the times we generally feel that Nigerian banks are not, meeting up with the foreign counterparts or whatever. But I've come to observe that in some areas, Nigerian banks are actually doing much more better. For example, a friend of mine transferred some money to somebody in Canada. The same day, the person received that money. That's speed. I'm not even sure that abroad they are really that fast. I think when it comes to payments and whatever, Nigerian banks have actually come of age quite fast. But won't that lead to a sort of compromise when you are doing transfers between one country and another country, and within some hours, one day, the money is gone? So, I started wondering, is there the checks and balances? Are they still there?
Yeah. So you cannot have. We can't beat our chest that we have all the that you've ticked all the dots. Yes, you can try as much as possible to. Yes, Nigerian banks are doing very well. So that one too comes a risk. If you see what is happening these days.
Yeah.
So if there is a compromise on somebody's account before you say, Jack Robinson with a couple of minutes, the money is gone. And those guys are those are the risks that come with the speed of a transaction, because what we are doing that's why we are figuring out how do we come up with but that's why for transaction there is a daily transactional limit. That's what the Nigerian bank has done, so that if you are on internet banking, if you want to go beyond certain limits, you need to.
Okay, so they use the limits as a form of protection.
So that I think that the exposure will not be too much.
Okay, so at the national level, there was a time there was this news that the national identity database was compromised and whatever, some identities stolen, though the agency responsible for managing that debunked it and said it never happened. How do you protect national infrastructure from cyber threats?
Yeah, so from cyber threats, yes, I think various. To be honest with you, we're doing a lot, and we also have the backers of the various national body provider, like in Nigerian banks, we get the support of this CBN, and if you look at what NIDA is also doing in terms of the data privacy, they're coming up like a lot of best practices that if you follow those best practices, you have at least some reasonable level of assurance that you are well protected. Like what for banks, CBN come up with a with a CBN cybersecurity framework, which this year they have also modified it. And if you follow all those due diligence, because if you look at those frameworks, they are based on best practice. You can map it with what the best practice that, because this set of people that come up with this practice, yeah, they've done their research, and I think to me, cybersecurity is a journey. I won't tell you that we are yet there, but it's a journey, because as you embark on the journey, new
things keep coming up.
New things keep coming, new threats come up.
So that leads me. So what are all the types of cyber threats that are possible?
Yeah, we have. Yes, we can. For the sake of this program, I can. We can exhaust.
But let me just tell us.
Let me just mention some. We have malware is a form of cyber threats. Malware can come in different forms. Malware is from the short form is a malicious software. So example of malicious software is a virus, or maybe a ransomware. I will explain what is ransomware. A ransomware is an attack that would maybe the attacker will take over your system, and they will encrypt the information, your data, and they demand for ransom for you to get your data back. Just imagine you log into your system, you want to open maybe some vital document, maybe a very important Excel document. You are seeing some gribbage stuff. You can't see the details, and you now see a ransom note that kindly pay a certain amount, maybe $10 to $300 to this
before you can get your
before you can
account back.
That's a form of ransomware. At times it might be that you log onto your system, you realize that you started getting unsolicited pop-up, unsolicited application. You want to go to Google Mail, something else is popping up, one funny website is. So that's a kind of a hardware, so that means that some system unwanted advertisement, you are getting that if your system is started misbehaving, it's taking. So we have different form of malware. It can be ransomware, it can be hardware, it can be anything. So apart from that, so phishing attack is a form of threat. So phishing is when somebody sends an unsolicited image to you in order to trick you to click on an unwanted link.
Like a clickbait.
That will lead you to where you enter your. So that's the phishing. Phishing can. We also have these days we also have phishing. If somebody sends you an unsolicited SMS, we receive it a lot. Somebody will just send you that, okay, congratulations, you've just
won so
stuff.
And people want to win, right?
You know, they call this number to claim your. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it can also be in form of somebody unauthorized access to your account. Maybe like what you said, that a friend of yours, somebody took over the LinkedIn account.
Yeah, his LinkedIn account.
It can be unauthorized access. And it can be that, or it can also be that you want to transact money. Let's presume that, okay, as you are transacting that money, somebody has hijacked the communication.
So that's phishing.
And that's not phishing. That's what we call the man in the middle attack.
The man in the middle attack.
Somebody will be at the middle, hijack your transaction, and the transaction will not be your intended. Let's presume that you want to send money to me. And somebody else hijacked the transaction, and instead of the money get to me, the money get to that person.
Like a diversion.
The diversion, but you get a receipt that the money has been sent to me. But I'm money, that guys, you don't send me.
I'm not seeing any money.
I'm not seeing any money, and maybe by the time we are debating, you go and lodge the complaint in the bank. The bank will tell you that, guys, did you not send the money to me? You send money to Mr. C. So then Mr. C have hijacked this transaction.
So how do you claim such money back?
Yes, that one will be, for that, if what the financial organization, if definitely that kind of, it will be an error due to the application. So in such a place, as you have the authority to approach the bank, and you will get your money back.
Okay, thanks. Before we go, the cybersecurity space is growing, right? I'm sure some people would want to have a career in that area.
Yeah.
Do you think they have a chance, and what do they need to do to be able to enter that space?
Okay, yeah. So that's a very, I have a lot of people, people that ask me this. That's a very valid question. So, because cybersecurity is a form of, for you to get started with cybersecurity, you need to understand the basic of technology. I would advise that people that want to go into that cybersecurity space, they should start with the basic of technology.
They need to be technical.
They need to be technical because you can't protect what they don't know. So it's, I mean, I started my career as a technology person. I was a software developer for almost 4 or 5 years before I decided to go to that cybersecurity route. So that gave me a very good foundation. Yeah, so I would encourage people that they should understand the basic principle of computing if you want to go to, and cybersecurity is very broad. We have different career. So some people focus on network security, some people focus on software security. But for any part of cybersecurity you want to focus, make sure that you have a very good foundation. If you want to start with the software security, understand the very basic the principle of programming. Understand it's better that you be a programmer yourself before you transit to cybersecurity. I always encourage people that they should start with the very basic knowledge of technology before having understood that technology. That's when you'll be able to transit. Because if you don't understand the technology and you want to start to protect the technology, you'll just be floating.
You cannot protect what you don't know or what you don't understand. I think I got that. Yeah. So for our viewers, we've been speaking about how to build resilience into cybersecurity, your cybersecurity strategy, either as an individual or as an organization or even as a country, because this thing cuts across. And Zek made us to understand that it is not a Nigerian thing, it happens all over the world. People get hacked, whether you are in Nigeria, you are in Africa, you are in Europe, you are in the Middle East. The hackers can hit anybody. We just need to ensure that we are protected. Zek, before we go, I would like you to, what would be your parting words to our audience? What do they need to do? What do they need to be aware of? What do they need to take care of?
Okay, so my parting word to the audience is that they should take the responsibility of protecting themselves by themselves, right? So because cybersecurity, when it comes to cybersecurity, people are the weakest link.
People are the weakest
link when it comes to the cybersecurity. So you can have the best technology, you can have the best processes, but if you don't do what you're supposed to do, for example, as a person, if you reveal your username and password to somebody else, you now go ahead and also reveal your, like the WhatsApp hacking have heard of people that won't use two-factor on their WhatsApp. They will go ahead, somebody will call them, Instagram, they will give them their details, give them their stuff. So if you are not aware, so basic information security awareness is very key for everybody, whether you are a cybersecurity professional, because if you think that, okay, you don't, whether you like it or not, you have to leverage on, make use of technology at one point or the other, because if you don't want to leverage on technology, you can't, I don't think that you can exist
not in this age.
Not in this age. Gone are those days that people will rather say, no, I don't want to use ATM, I don't want to use WhatsApp, I don't want to use, but today, you need to be very, very informed about, and also be aware that no organization will ask for your personal details. In this side of the world, nobody will be asking for your people
details on the phone.
On the phone. In the other part of the world, like in US, social security number is a big deal. If somebody gets hold of your social security number, they can just be borrowing money on your behalf. So no organization, we ask for those kind of details, and also advise everybody that we also need to, as much as we need to limit the amount of very personal details that we give out. So it's very, very important. Yeah,
Thanks, Zek. We have some questions from the audience, And I would like us to take a few before we go because our time is running out. How would you advise those that are not tech savvy to do multi-factor authentication? Not everybody understands phishing, tech, and whatever. How can they be able to do it when they don't even understand it?
Yes. Yeah, you don't need to be tech savvy to implement. If you are using, for example, if you are using WhatsApp, if you are using, maybe you're using Facebook, you're using, you have an email. For the fact that you are using email, that has given you some level of, you understand some technology. So if you can't, if you don't want to use it, and if you feel that you want to get away from using it, don't create an email account in the first instance. You get what I'm saying? So to me...
But can anybody live now without an email account?
So I think it's very simple because what you can do is straightforward. You don't need to be a tech savvy. You don't need to
be able to do two-factor.
Two-factor. You don't need to understand.
You know, once some people hear tech, they just switch off. They don't even want, it's not for me or whatever. Yeah, so it's no big deal.
It's not big deal. So you don't need to be a tech person.
Yeah, I think we have another question coming up. Okay. So in that case, you know, I narrated a case and somebody is taking it of that. You know, somebody is in Nigeria, has his card, and the money was taken in another country. So the person is saying, how did the bank refund this customer when incidents like this happen? Are they tracing the criminal or are they using their funds to do the refund? You are a banker, so I'm sure you understand the process even much more better than...
So maybe from the customer end, just make sure that if you see some malicious activity to your account, reach out to the bank immediately. So maybe through the customer service. So from the back end, so for now as much as possible, we first of all do some validation to be sure whether, because we've seen a case of some people will do the transaction by themselves, or maybe they have maybe a family member that have their, at one point in the other, that have their PAN information. So if you confirm that, okay, that's so the bank will refund your money. But from the back end, if we trace from the back end how to get the money back.
And I'm sure possibly the banks also have such monies insured.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe there's some insurance to cover the loss from the bank. Okay, well, thanks, Zek, for your time. I think it's been an illuminating session. I also have actually learned a lot. One thing I'm taking out of this is that you can't protect what you don't know. So a level of education, try and educate yourself concerning things around cyber threats is really very important. And also that a chain is as strong as the weakest link. And most of the time, it doesn't matter how much infrastructure that you have. If as an individual, you don't protect yourself, you keep giving out your personal information, then you're at risk. So that's really very important. Whether it is an individual, whether it's an organization, whether it is even national. You know, some organizations also, somebody carelessly, they just pass the logon details and whatever to somebody that is not authorized. And before you know it, they can do some damage. Well, thanks everybody for your time. It's been a very good session. I thank Zeg for honoring our invite.
Thank you for having me.
I do hope that when next we call you again, you'll be here.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks everybody. I believe that we have learned one thing or the other. Let's ensure we do everything possible to always protect ourselves so that we don't suffer losses. My name once again is Femi Adeoti. Thank you once again.